Now it's the time of the program that we've been doing all month and will continue to do to talk about our annual StudentCam contest, a video competition for middle and high school students. This year's competition centered on sending a message to President Obama and letting him know what students saw as the most pressing issue for the president to address. Here's a short clip of one of our third prize winners and a little bit of an interview with them.
My mom had a friend that got deported recently, and he has 3 children, a wife, and when he got deported, his children did not understand what was going on. His kids were crying. He was more of the breadwinner than the wife was. Now the wife works 2 jobs. The kids have to stay home alone a lot.
Anytime you rip a family apart, whether they're an illegal family or not, when you start taking families and ripping them apart like that and sending a husband or a father or a mother or both away from that child, I think we do some very serious harm to those young people when we do that. We need to try to identify those illegals that are here and say, look, you're here illegal. Here's what it's going to take for you to become a legal citizen of this country, and help them on the track to become a citizen.
Joining us this morning is Kenzie Clark, a third prize winner from Jenks, Oklahoma. Good morning, Kenzie.
Good morning.
Why is immigration the most urgent issue for President Obama to address?
I believe immigration is one of the most urgent issues for President Obama to address, because right now it is, an issue that is one of the main causes of our economic crisis. It's, a very expensive thing to deal with, and it's also taking up a lot of emergency room space, and it's just one of the many things that is a ripple effect toward other issues our country is dealing with.
How did you conduct research for this film?
Well, in the very beginning, my partner Alexia and I, we went on the internet, we looked up House Bill 1804 that was passed here in Oklahoma and what it was and what it did, and then we also talked to our parents and our friends and see if they knew anyone or they dealt with this issue, they knew any immigrants or those who work with immigration. So it was just kind of a research of overall who we know and who we could talk to. And
who did you interview?
We interviewed Josh Rodriguez, who is of Mexican descent. He is very active in the Hispanic community, and we got his story on what he deals on a day-to-day basis, because he looks foreign, but also that he, what he deals with. And we also interviewed Martin Piplitz, who is a legal Austrian immigrant, who told his story of, what his thoughts and ideas are of what our country should do about the immigration issue on a national level. And we also interviewed House Minority Leader Danny Morgan and what he thinks of the issue from a governmental standpoint and what measures need to be taken.
And of these different perspectives, did you find any similar attitudes or opinions?
We found many similar attitudes because they all believe that the immigration issue is of great importance, that it needs to be on the top of our federal government's agenda. But they also, they differ because they all had a different idea of how it should be dealt with, whether there should be more restrictions or less restrictions, or if this should be on a national level or a state level.
What did you learn about the path to U.S. citizenship?
I'm sorry, what?
What did you learn about the path to U.S. citizenship?
I learned that the path to U.S. citizenship is a very long process, that it's not an easy or, inexpensive thing to do. It's a very expensive thing, especially if it's, your family, and that it means just to even gain citizenship, you have to live in this U.S. for 5 years. Then you can actually apply for citizenship. So it's a very long and tedious process, and it's difficult for many, and that's why I think many people avoid it.
You mentioned Oklahoma State Bill 1804. Tell us about it.
Well, 1804 was passed here about a year ago. It requires individuals to be a citizen of the United States to work here in Oklahoma, and it also puts restrictions on employers for them to not employ illegal immigrants. It penalizes them if they do that, and it also gives government officials a more power to enforce immigration laws. So it's just an overall restriction on those who come here illegally.
And what's been the reaction to this bill in your community?
Well, There are many Oklahoma supporters. Those who agree with it, are for it and live life the same. But many people who disagree with it, are just angry. But many illegals have left the state. There are, a lot less here working.
After what you've learned, what is your message to President Obama?
I believe President Obama needs to take an aggressive stance on this issue. I know right now, the economic issue is what's on top and what's being heard in the news every day. But this is an issue that can help solve that economic process. I know part of the stimulus plan has, make an effect on immigration laws and immigration reform, but it needs to be taken a little more aggressively and needs to be, just not a thing that you give money out to, but it needs to be a hand-to-hand issue.
Thank you, Kenzie.
Well, thank you.
You can watch Kenzie Clark's video or the other StudentCam 2009 winning videos at www.studentcam.org.